welcome to day 3 of VCT EMEA Kickoff, where 2 more challenges will be taking the stage for the first time in 2025. We're coming to you live from the Riot Games Arena in Berlin, Germany, and I am your host, Yingsu. Standing next to our analyst for today, it is Kakuka and Billy. You guys, welcome back. I love this theme of every single day we see 2 new teams.
I thought you were going to speak about the denim, but yes.
And the denim.
Yeah. Seeing 2 new teams, I think that people are very excited, especially for the one that we're going to see on Vitality later on the day. But of course, Fnatic, after the year that they had in 2023 and 2024 combined, we still have some expectations for them.
Yeah, I also thought that you were going to talk about our outfits.
We didn't lie, by the way. We just turned up like this.
But yeah, no, I'm super excited to see the 2 teams that we've not got to see compete yet.
Yeah, this is the thing though. Every team we have seen, I felt like there were expectations, right? And do you guys feel like after seeing yesterday, there were any expectations met above or below?
I think there would be... Yeah, I think that the first game was 50-50. I saw a lot of individual levels. I think that Kiko was great on this smoker role. I think it really fits him. But for the second one, I think it was on the line of what we expected at least for Kickoff.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think the first one, yeah, I couldn't really decide going into that one. But that second one, I was hoping a little bit more from Floor's debut. But I mean, you can only do what you can do on the very first day. So yeah, no, it was really exciting to see her come out on action.
I honestly feel like she smashed it.
Yeah,
I felt like she smashed every expectation I had of her. But this is the thing. We have 2 more teams taking the stage today, and we have a lot of other things going on. So I wanted to bring back one of the favorite games we played last year. Of course, it is Contender or Pretender.
Oh my God.
Now, I know the watch parties that's going on right now. I need you, Sliggy. I need you, Doombros. Eric is watch partying, and everyone else that might be to join in and see if you agree with us or maybe disagree with us. So for those of you that don't know how this game works, I'm going to give Billy and Kakuka a couple of categories, and I want them to tell me if they think whatever I'm throwing over there is a contender for this season or a pretender. And Kakuka riled a few people up last year, so I'm looking forward to seeing what more you can do now. Let's just jump straight into it and bring back one of our favorite contender or pretender categories, and that is the new super team of Team Vitality.
You can't do this to me. I know that Salah was very mad at me last year. I didn't care. I said that last year they were a pretender, but I think that for this year, they can be a serious contender. I understand that this is not a hot take. They build a super team, and the expectations are definitely that and should be met. Now, is the pressure going to take the best of them, or are they, as so many people think, going to implode before anything happens?
Yeah, I have to agree with Kakuka on this one. I'm going to go with Contender. Just to have to echo absolutely everything that you said. Like, you can't doubt this team this early on.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's move on to the next one, of course. A team that's coming in with a roster change and a stand-in Crashies. That is Fanatic. They're very, very different now compared to last year. Of course, no Leo, and also plus Kayak minus Durka.
Right.
I'll start with you, Billy.
Yeah.
Pretender. This might be a little bit of a wild take, but I don't know. I'm not convinced yet. I feel like I have to wait and see them play, which is what I've said every day so far. But yeah, I think with the stand-in of Crashies, like you say, with Kayak being brought into this team, the replacement of Derka, I'm not convinced just yet. So yeah, I think I have to wait and see what happens in the server.
It's difficult. This one is a difficult one because I don't know what to go off exactly because we still haven't seen them, right? I'm going to give them 1 chance and 1 only to be holding this because I know the talent that is in that team. I'm very excited also, as you're saying, to see Kayak, to see Crashies, and the new changes. I want to see how they fit within the meta. I know that we saw and we've met a Fnatic that was very skeptical at the beginning in changing their compositions and adapting to new times, but we saw some changes last year. If they're able to keep up that level and have a little bit not so lukewarm as 2024, I'm going to give them 1 chance. I think they deserve it.
I think the new analyst bumps it up for me. I feel like that he puts the contender back in there. But let's move on to the next one, of course. A player that you guys have already seen in action. So I want to see after you guys saw his debut here, I think 2 days ago. What do you think about the new superstar Turkish talent we have on BBL?
Absolutely, I'm going to go with Contender. I think that for Lewin here, it's not only the fact that I really wanted to see him. I think it's one of the names that I heard the most during the off season. To me, it's also the fact that we saw him playing things like Euro that he hadn't played in the past, and it was one of my points for him coming into this team. Yes, a very young duelist. He has all these electricity, but maybe the Asian pool is still on the expected one. We know that here in VCT you have to have that flexibility, and I thought the Euro was going to be very strong. So seeing him playing it on his debut and doing it the way that he did, very impressive. Serious Contender.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Contender for Lewin. I think the way that Yampi was supporting him as well, and the fact that he has this Turkish duelist firepower, I'm excited to see him play again today.
I want to see him play ISO. Do you reckon he would dare play ISO against Althea? That will be... Whew.
I think it depends. Many teams take Kickoff as a learning experience as well. Obviously, the ones that have just been built or they're still, fixing the last bits, everybody's paying attention to what's strong in the meta because it still hasn't been defined.
Yeah, and the last one for you guys, a bit of a different one. I want to ask you guys whether you think Suigetsu on his new role specifically, I'll start with you, Billy, if he's a smokes contender or pretender.
I'm going to say Contender. I think that he had a lot of good smokes to help support his team. I think as well he was getting a lot of kills through smokes. Like his actual overall game sense of being able to play around in his smokes were really valuable. So yeah, I'm going to go with Contender for this one.
I'm going to disagree for this one because I feel like, I've been too nice. I'm done being nice. I forgot how much I love this game because I don't like being nice. I'm sorry. But I'm going to go with Pretender, but I will give you my reasons. I think that the other day, he was playing against Navi, probably being very excited to get that victory. I do think, and what I like about this is that he is willing to fit in what he needs to do to be working in this KC that we know is going to be one of the main topics of 2025. But I'm going to give it Pretender because I do not think that Suigetsu is limited by the role that he is playing, and I want to see more of him. I want him to be the superstar again, no matter what. So for me, if he's fixated in the role, or if we are fixated in the role, we're pretending.
Oh, I feel like we have different opinions here, which is what we love. But there is one thing I think we can all agree with, which is how excited we are about Crashies. Why not hear from him now ahead of his game today? You've seen NRG Crashies, you've seen Optic Crashies, some of you might even remember Envy Crashies, but now I'm joined by Fanatic Crashies, which feels weird to say, but I'm just going to throw it straight to you here and show you some reactions of people talking about you coming to EMEA, joining Fanatic. I'm sure you've seen some of these tweets already, you might be familiar. Going straight in for the first one, which is, I've never seen Crashies this happy.
Yeah, that's probably true actually, so.
You've never been this happy?
No. I love Fnatic. I love it here.
Okay, so what is it about Fnatic and I guess EMEA that makes you this happy?
I think it's just the team culture we have. We just get along really well. I've known these guys for so long as well. Competed at a lot of events and I've just talked to them throughout the years. So I think it's just kind of like just a friend group coming together. So.
Damn, you've actually confirmed it. I think people were kind of speculating on social media. Let's throw you the next one as well, which is, I've never imagined Crashies doing silly little TikToks. What is in the EMEA air? So, yeah.
Yeah, I
Talk
mean,
about the silly TikToks.
Boaster, he actually paid me a lot of euro to do some TikToks, so shout out to Boaster. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and speaking of Boaster, your former teammate, some might say, your boyfriend Vic, kind of caught you in the act here. So how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, sorry Vic. Unfortunately, you had to find out this way, but yeah, Boaster's like my guy, so sorry.
No, but you do miss him though, right?
I do miss Vic. Yeah, I do miss Vic. Vic's my guy. Been together since the start of the game, so he will always be my brother.
I'm sure he's going to be tuning in to watch your debut, right?
He will, yes, he will be actually.
I hope he's watch partying. We've got one more. I don't know if we can throw this up as well, but just in case we can't, it's the TikTok one. You've already explained this, but yep. Was this fun to do?
This was fun. I feel like it was pretty natural to do, and the community enjoyed it as well. So I think it worked out pretty well.
Can we expect more from you?
We're gonna have to keep that a secret for now.
Oh, okay. And last one I'm gonna show you, which, by the way, I don't endorse Boostio's flame of our GOAT, Poochan, FNS, Finesse, but he did say this is how happy a man can get when you leave FNS. Yeah,
I feel like Boostio's just, trying to start Boostio stuff as he usually does. FNS was great. I'll always love FNS, but Boostio, I think they're going to beat you this year, man.
Oh, but there's no beef, right? Like you love Boaster, you love FNS, they love each other, so it's very wholesome and friendly.
There's a good love circle going on, I think.
Absolutely love that. Thank you very much, Crashies, for joining me. I hope to see many more of your smiles as the week go on.
Thank you.
We heard it from the man himself. This is the happiest he has ever been. And it's not that hard to believe, right?
No, absolutely. Oh, I love that we have an extra guest here. No, but I think that Boaster has always had this kind of persona to himself. Like he likes to be very, not only active in social media, he likes to be a little bit of the clown. And I love the fact that he has found someone to match his freak.
Yeah. He has indeed. I mean, unfortunately, of course, in the offseason, I think everybody was shocked to hear about the departure of Durka from here. But Billy, you're very familiar with Kayak, so talk me through what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Kayak is insane. And even just to go back to talking about Fnatic for a second, like they had such a dominant 2023, and then we look at 2024 and they kind of struggled a little bit. So yeah, that's a big one for me. But Kayak, a great new addition to this team. I don't think that there's a duelist that he can't play. He's so flexible in every single one of those duelists, so I'm so excited to see him on this Fnatic.
Yeah, and the last time that we saw him, it was here in VCT EMEA when he won Ascension with his team, and I think everybody thought from the outside, man, this guy, I mean, he's already earned this spot, but I do not think that the teams are going to let Apex have this, and it's normal that we see him in a team like Fnatic, but the question's still out there. I think that his performance during that Ascension final wasn't the best. So today he has a bigger test, and I think that all of the eyes are going to be in him.
And I've never seen so much pressure from two players having to come in and fill the shoes of Durka and Leo. I wouldn't want to do that job. No, thank you.
Absolutely not. So I think that's why Fnatic were for champions, right? For Kajak, it was one of the biggest promises coming in from EMEA Tier 2, and Crashies, I mean, the man speaks for himself, winner of Reykjavik in 2022 with Optic, a long career, and you need this, instead of going for these new faces that sometimes Fnatic has been very known for with Alpha, with Durka back in the day, very back in the day, I wonder what this new approach of scouting is going to bring for them.
Yeah, I think the expectations are also different, right? I feel like going into 2023, Billy, people were really on this hype train, but coming into this, you can't really expect anything of nearly the similar level of them.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And I think as well, like Mini dropping down from that assistant coach, dropping down from head coach to assistant coach, we've seen the detriment of that in their 2024 results. Yeah, they didn't make Kickoff initially, and they bombed out pretty early of the international events as well. So I think that that's already had a bit of an effect on the team.
Yeah, now this will be the first time in the history of Fnatic where Mini is not part of the coaching staff, and I've been told that it actually has absolutely nothing to do with Pansy. It's just, you know, it happens in life where you don't want to coach anymore, you want to go do something else, and he seems pretty happy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that Pansy has a very interesting method of convincing people to do stuff. I feel like there's a lot of legwork and a lot of things that Mini could have done against that, but you know, we're happy to have him in any capacity here.
Yeah, we are indeed. But this is the thing, though. They're going to be going up against BBL. We have seen BBL play already. What did you make of their debut here, Billy?
Yeah, I mean, firepower. We've already kind of quickly touched on Lewin in that quick little fun game that we had to begin with. But yeah, no, two Turkish players from BBL that were the standouts for me in that very first series that we got to see them play the other day. I think a question for me going into this one is, can Lewin show any form of discipline? Because I think he was overheating quite a lot in that series previously. And with Kayak having little LAN experience as well, I think that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on, is how do these duelists pair up to one another?
I mean, I want to see maybe Fnatic bringing in something new for this one, for BBL. I want to see consistency. I want them to keep at least the mental that they had in the first game. Yes, they weren't able to close that 8-12, and they actually lost that map in the second one. That, of course, takes a toll mentally, but BBL has never won against Fnatic. Maybe this is the time.
Yeah, especially with Sociable being on the form that he's on too, right? It's going to be very interesting to see. We have seen BBL on this stage already. They had a great start. They managed to win their opening game. But here is the test. Can they do that against Fnatic? Without further ado, let's bring both of these teams onto stage.
With me.
It is a new year and a new look for this Fnatic roster. They would have been sitting at home watching what BBL brought to the table, watching what they can do. But the question is, how good is this team? We've been theorizing, we've been guessing. We will find out in just a moment. This map veto, though, will be very, very interesting. Fnatic traditionally, Kakuko have had some pretty strong maps.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And some permabans as well. Let's see if they...
It's New Year's same permaban.
I was going to say, I mean, with Pearl back in it, are we going to see them picking it? But no, we still don't know, right? It's the first time, but we have seen Fnatic banning Pearl in the past. Very excited to see not only that Abyss, but more so that Fracture. We know that back in the day, Fnatic was one of the teams that were trendsetters in the map. And please, can we get to Split? We've seen every map. I want to see Split. I was watching Americas yesterday. I am that desperate.
I mean, Billy, I'm actually very surprised they banned Lotus to choose to go to Split. I mean, BBL taking away the Haven, that's a no-brainer, but yeah, I'm not sure about this. Maybe Alpha just sick of playing Killjoy.
I think this seems like a fairly strong veto for both teams. I think it can swing in either way. I mean, Fnatic obviously seen something on Pearl from BBL yesterday that they just didn't want to entertain and have decided to take it completely, like, right out of the map pool off the bat. So yeah, no, I honestly think this map veto favors both teams. It could swing either way.
I mean, technically, Fnatic should have a small advantage because they're the ones that have been looking at what BBL has been bringing. Well, and the rest of the teams maybe theorizing with what they could play in other maps. One thing that I would love to see as well, and that we saw during the offseason, some double duelists we were mentioning Alpha here, and also with having some young Turkish promises on the other side. I can understand how he can want to put his foot on the ground, being like, it's me.
Yeah, I'm really glad that BBL instantly chose this Abyss, because as good as Fnatic's map has been, this Abyss has been abysmal. They have not won a lot here. In fact, I think just the one time. And Alpha is going for Tejo. We talked about whether Kron and Crashies could do this, but are you guys surprised that it's Alpha yet?
I mean, I was expecting to see him, you know, maybe in a more aggressive role. I think that sometimes he's a little bit underused when he's playing on the Sentinel just because of the raw power that he has, right? So I'm very interested to see this Tejo. On the other side, though, the only Sentinel that we are going to see is that Sage. Knowing also how this map works, I'm very interested to see how Vac is going to merge onto all of this, and Lewin going back into that Euro second time in his career.
Yeah, you would think with Vac being the stand-in, I don't know, maybe it's a comfortability pick. I imagine if Chi was playing this, they would have maybe had him on a Cypher as their Sentinel for Abyss. So yeah, no, this is really interesting to me. And the Alpha on the tail, I'm so excited to see how he pairs up with Kayak and help support him. Of course, Crashies is going to be given the recons as well. But I mean, the Yoru to Yoru head-to-head, I'm really looking forward to this one.
I think that especially yesterday, we saw a lot of synergy with the initiators and the duelists. That is something that I want to see from Yampi as well today, playing on that breach. I think that he was amazing the other day, so I want to see if he keeps it up.
Yeah, and also it's Kron on Astra. Boaster is one of the most iconic Astra players in the world. You gotta wonder why they've decided to make this switch as well.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you have to wonder, are they going to also keep that for other maps? Only time will tell.
I can't wait to see it. Let's send it over to your casters. I'm sure they're very, very excited about this agent select as well. Over to you, Mitchman and Tombiz.
Thank you so much, Yinsu. Very excited indeed. Day 3 of VCT EMEA, the third installment. Makes sense that it's the return of the king. Tom, what do you think about what Fnatic have been cooking up for us in this offseason?
It's a change. It's not a massive one. That's the thing. They haven't like completely revitalized their composition on this map. They've got rid of an ISO and they brought in a Teo. And I like the idea. I think it's slightly less aggressive than what they were running before. You can have the double drones, which is going to be quite interesting to see teams try and deal with that. Maybe potential to sell a little bit more fakes in there as well. And on the other side of things, yeah, quite some big changes to what we saw in the past. They were also running a double duelist, but have opted to bring in the Sage. And I am intrigued to see if Vac has got any sort of plans, any ideas, because he was basically put on the Sentinel the other day and just like, okay, you sit here, hold this site. Well, with Sage, you could be a little bit more cheeky, a little bit more aggressive, and I want to see what he's got in his locker.
I want to see if it's going to be the Battle Sage from Vac. Certainly a player we know has high skill ceilings. Wouldn't be strange to see him on a duelist back in the day. Now, we'll see how he delivers. BBL have had challenges, but a pretty good opening. And to be honest, the thing is, though, the limited time, again, the one-day turnaround, moving into this one day off to work on everything. It does inspire me with some confidence, though, Tom, that the issues we saw, they seemed to be fixable. They were players getting a little too eager, and it seemed like the longer BBL played, the better they were playing. So we'll see if that continues into this series. Fnatic, a big challenge. And on the attack, they've already got Spike planted. Looks like deep control is going to be held late into the plant as Boaster has a Paranoia primed and ready for a play straight into their spawn. Kayak with them. This is delaying them even further. Tejo's rockets come in. The salvo blocking them a little longer, meaning it's a panic as they run back into Boaster. He's not able to capitalize, though.
Yeah, they've caught both controllers in a matter of seconds. The only problem now is just that time has been ticking. Already half. Some shots connected by Kayak, but it doesn't matter. The defuse is coming under his nose. Some crazy shots from the Duelist to at least show that, well, he's definitely bringing it in VCT.
Oh, he's come in warmed up today. A 4-0 start for Kayak, but a 1-0 start for BBL. Managing to take that round in the end. Dealing with Boaster, the first domino falls as they take the backside. Footing in there from that point, though, it seems like the round's slipping away right here, right now. But that was one big swing to cover the defuse, to buy that little bit of extra time. And as you can see, they were on the same page. It's got them around.
More than halfway to his ult, though, so that's something at least. They've collected the orbs as they go, but yeah, the round going the way of BBL. Solid start for them here. And while Loon, definitely an exciting prospect going into this one. Because that's the thing, you're looking at two duelists coming into the VCT, but one, I would say, has a lot more in terms of pressure on their shoulders. An Ascension winner, someone who was purchased out to replace Durka. Like, that's ultimately the goal. That's the shoes that need to be filled. Definitely not easy ones at that. As said, I think the double drone is definitely going to be an interesting piece to the puzzle. They're still making this one a little bit more costly than BBL might have liked. Even still, though, 3 players standing.
Yeah, it looks sociable, barely hanging on. It could have been a much more costly round, but that's the start that's expected. You lose that pistol, you come into the follow-up without a whole lot. This one here for Fnatic, the full investment. And as you pointed out, Tom, Kayak finding so many of those kills. He's built up the orb fund to have that ult online. So round 3, they're going to be able to have a very pointed spear wherever they decide to bring that push.
I think it's a scenario as well where you know that your opponents, if they have got anything, will likely have to gamble. So I really don't mind seeing it in this round. Get yourself off the mark fairly quick, because I think that's something also worth talking about, that we have seen this in the past where you go, okay, well, these teams have a clear advantage. They get to skip a match, they go into that sort of upper bracket match, and okay, then if they lose, they go down into the lower bracket. But at times that's not been an advantage. You've seen teams warm into the tournament, get rid of those jitters on the stage, and basically just get a few more reps in, because you don't know if a lot of what you've been trying has worked. I think that BBL got that with, okay, letting a map slip, having to bounce back into the series, showing that, okay, their chamber that they ran on Pearl was fantastic, we can run that in the next one. And sure, Fnatic get the advantage of, okay, we get to watch, we get to have a look at what you're doing and try and counter it. But personally, I think the value comes from getting more reps, especially really early in the season. Sure, when burnout comes into play, maybe you could talk about, okay, that's less ideal. But right now, I do wonder if Fnatic will actually be happy about the fact that they've skipped a match and come up against a BBL who looked very good the other day.
Yeah, and tying that into as well what you said earlier about the duelists, different levels of pressure. It's true for the teams as well. Fnatic expected to be towards the top of the pick and order, regardless of what squad you put up against them. Regionally, internationally, it's all the same. When it comes to BBL, the weight is not on their shoulders. And indeed, already starting out the season with a win, you got to imagine morale is high, especially considering the things like visas and travel and so on that they've had to butt heads with.
They have a stand-in right now.
They have a stand-in playing, indeed. Like, it's not an easy bunch of situations that they've found themselves in. They've navigated them all well and come out the other side. For them, a start 2-0, build up a couple more rounds. It's certainly going to affect the Fnatic mental on paper more than it would the BBL if they had started that way.
I think as well, again, you have to talk about the roster changes that were made for Fnatic. One of them is you're trying to fill the shoes of Leo, who still unfortunately isn't here. Those are shoes that are literally impossible to fill. Although Crashies is about as close as you can get in terms of caliber of player. And then I said, for Kayak, he's had a great start in this match, even if they haven't got themselves around. But he is trying to fill the shoes of, I don't even think it's arguable, the best duelist we've seen in EMEA. So it's one of those things where it's going to be interesting to see how not only he deals with that extra pressure, he did well in Apex last year where you basically can't lose. It's going to be a similar scenario. The expectation on Fnatic is you need to be attending every single international event. And I think this year, that's going to be tougher than any other. And think back to Kickoff last year. Like, they were in that match to make it and didn't. So starting off strong is going to be incredibly important. And I think beating BBL, it's a must.
You know, for BBL as well, I was looking as we saw the veto come in and just thinking how much of a challenge this must be, because they've already had a series not that long ago, and now they're coming in 3 completely different maps that are on field. So again, you're getting tested early in the season for how deep your map pool is up against one of the strongest opponents you've got. I guess at least they come in with an unknown. I wouldn't like to face Fnatic on a map I played 2 days ago that they've got to examine. So that's at least an upside. But another thing that sort of lightens the expectation on them as well. I don't expect them to be as good on their 6th map as on their 3rd map, for example. We'll see how BBL shapes up, and we'll see how this game does as well, as Fnatic returning to this stage. High expectations, but high delivery off rip. And look, for someone like Kayak getting a 4K off the bat, certainly going to put some, dispel some doubt that people might have.
But that's something interesting about this first map, because you sort of look, obviously, Fnatic took out Pearl. I think that would have been the choice of BBL if they could have had it, because they were insane on it the other day.
Good.
But then you look at this Abyss, and as much as a counter pick could be, because you've not seen Fnatic play in the regular season, that was the map that it seemed like they were testing things out on during the off-season. They played it multiple times. It didn't go particularly well, as Sue was saying on the desk. So maybe you've gone and gone, I actually think our Abyss is unreal. Let's go in for it. Let's give them a fight on it. And as I said, they've come in with a slightly unusual comp running that Sage. And clearly, they feel confident on it.
Well, Tom, we've gotten through the podcast section, back to the MP4. BBL, 2-0 start, and they've lost Profek off rip. A lot of weaknesses for the defensive side. This is a bonus round. They managed to deal damage onto Kayak, leaving him on 17 HP. Blow for blow early favors Fnatic, and they are now grouped up with that man advantage, looking to take this B site by storm. The ult, aforementioned, used in round 3, clearing all this space, and just getting rid of any of those nasty little low-buy dangers.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you want to make sure you're not walking into the stack, and I think after getting an opener already,
Decoy.
definitely made it a little bit easier to read. Ready though, the defense are here. Crashies will drop another. The thing is, they still haven't got the planted. Eventually, that will go down, and I think a lot of the danger in this round has already gone. Loon, though, with that sniper, might be the one risk.
Well, appears to be. Already dropping one, the double barrel, both are used, and now creeping onto the site is Yumpy. It's a free kill. Kayak looking the wrong way, but Chronicle's able to correct. Drop another member before this gets too scary. Only one to block the defuse. The Waldo put into play. That's a big problem. They've got to find a solution to this quickly. Gravwell goes in, buys them a bit of time. Distance needs to be closed here and now, though. Vac could just start to stick this, but they've got players ready to respond with Boaster just up top on the boxes and no chances given to Vac. He was looking for the kill. He needed it, but Fnatic denied any opportunity. Well handled. Boaster barely made it out alive.
I think his plan towards the end was just try and take as many players with him as he could using that spike, and it comes very, very close in the end. Not too bad overall for Fnatic. They keep 3 players alive. Obviously the investment into the rifles, but now the same will be happening for BBL. As mentioned, it was a sort of lower purchase, and that is the sort of fear with that Sage Wall. It's the one sort of value that I really feel like it can bring is like, okay, you're going to try and wrap post plant from this position. I'm going to wall it and make you move. And if he had teammates alive, that would have forced a lot of players out into very awkward positions. Unfortunately, Fnatic had already wiped everyone else.
Yeah, I think even just Chronicle trading quickly onto Yumpy there makes all the difference. It could have been a disastrous start to have it stolen out from under them and propel BBL into the lead. Instead, blow for blow, the play-by-play has been nice so far with Fnatic getting the victory, just enough players left alive that the economy is in an okay spot, but that BBL have a spark of hope to humble them in the coming round. Thing is though, when we talk about, obviously Kayak had his ulti on super early, this next round we're going into it with most players 2 away. It could go any direction. I think those early orbs are going to be a big factor.
It's obviously, it's one of those things as well on this map in particular where I do feel like a lot of those favor that attack side. Like being able to get the orbs is always going to be easier.
B-main.
Yeah, it's whether or not you, again, look at maybe A site if they're going to challenge for it. But it's quite an aggressive challenge if you are going to go for it. And if your opponent is there, you're kind of screwed for an orb. So I think that definitely favors Fnatic going into the next round, and especially with the Armageddon as one of the potential ults. That ultimate still just looks utterly terrifying. We saw it yesterday on Bind, just being able to clear the entirety of the back site, although I don't think it ever got a kill. I don't remember it getting one, at least. Maybe it moved people.
Well, it did get a kill on Bind. One of the players stepped into a Viper orb just as it came through. He was right in the edge of it in our last game.
Okay.
But that's the only kill it got, and that was a misstep by someone who just walked in a little bit too early. It's like the Killjoy ult, though, you know? When you haven't played against it, when Killjoy first came out and so on, you think, oh, it's already activated. Step in, detained. It can be hard to get that read.
It's that split second after the timer goes through.
But it's often like, I think most of what you're going to see, because it does quite a bit of damage if you do get caught, and if you add to that a snake bite, or like we saw a Viper orb that it's in the right place, you get much. That's quite a flight.
That's one hell of a trip. I guess let's hope Fnatic are worth it, or BBL.
Yeah, no pressure for Fnatic.
They'll probably do the meet and greet afterwards as well. So you at least get to see them. They're normally good for that. But hey, they're on the board at least. Obviously a bit of a tempered start to this match with a few pauses coming, and hopefully we'll get those out of the way nice and early. We can get back into our bye rounds as well.
Yeah, that's it as well. Once those barriers go up again, it's going to be the real meat and potatoes. Rifles for everyone, ultimates coming online, and we'll see how this early half is going to play out. If it will be Fnatic claiming that lead back and stomping BBL into the dirt, which I think a lot of people are expecting in terms of power levels, but BBL, they've been surprising us. Some of these individuals stepping up. Some of the clips, I think Sociable's certainly going to be in the top 10 of EMEA's clips with the...
He's going to be top 1.
Marshall.
Like, I'm sorry, he's top 1.
Well, you don't know what's ahead of us.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
Best play so far.
What is better than that?
Hey, listen, Sociable part 2.
You have to get like 5 knife kills.
Do it a shorty or something. I don't know.
I don't know if I'd enjoy that as much. I think it was the surprise factor of it as well. So I don't know. I genuinely don't think that will be beaten. Definitely not a Kickoff. I don't think a Kickoff. Maybe the entire year. I guess we've got some very good players in the server. Maybe if Alpha here can find it, because that's the other thing. So far, Teo has been okay. Like it's not been the sort of crazy agent that I think a lot of people have been donning the agent to be. Now, if anybody could maybe change my mind, it would be Althea plus Boaster ideas. Like I feel like you've got the complete skill set there. A crazy aim from Althea, and then crazy brain from Boaster. So if it was gonna work, this will be it. If it sucks in this match, I'm tapping out. Like I think that I need to see something, because I think a lot of it, like for example Shados, I feel like he was decent on it when we saw it before. Like I think he played a good game, but there wasn't anything in that match where I went, oh, that was insane from the Teo utility. It was like, oh, that was kind of cool.
There's nothing that had me saying, if every team doesn't do this, you're trolling. Yes. You know what I mean? And that's sort of the expectation that was set out at the start of the week by a lot of people for this agent. I do agree, though. Fnatic are probably the one team that would change that early on in the game. You look at some of the things they're missing here. I mean, taking out the ISO for Alpha here, there is going to be a little bit of a gap to be filled, which was my concern. But then you look at a capable duelist like Kayak in there, combined with the utility that Alpha will now be empowering him with, clearing some angles, destroying some utility.
You know who I want?
Definitely possible. What's that?
I want to see Mr. Fallen.
Mr. Fallen, yes.
I want to see Mr. Fallen.
Because
I feel like some people come up with cool ideas. He'll come up with weird ideas.
Same idea.
And that's why I like Mr. Fallen.
It's like our Paper Rex almost.
Well, it was
a different style.
Exactly. It was like when he started trying the deadlock just for like 1 week on Sunset, and I was like, I don't really agree with this, but I want to see what you've done. And I think that it even fits within like his initiator play as well. Like, and he's got the crazy Turkish aim, so I think he is the one player I'm also waiting out for to just go, okay, what have you come up with? Because somehow I think that would just be broken and maybe convince me that other things are allowed. Or again, like maybe someone like Fanatic, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, there's no shortage of players who could be pulling it out. But like I said, even looking at some of America's last night, Cowan Zine was playing it, and it all just seems like the agent is doing cool things, but I don't think we've seen a fully well-rounded enough plan to, like you said, convince everyone to start doing it.
Centralized around the Teo. And I think that's the other thing, is like, I think a lot of what has been looked at in terms of this agent being overpowered would revolve around the rest of the team looking to make that agent as good as it can be. Whereas I feel like right now, a lot of people are just going, okay, it is one of them, which is probably how you should play, because if you centralize your plan around one agent and one idea, unless it's neon broken, that's probably not going to work.
Well, I know some of you folks at home are admiring our new color scheme here. The red looks good.
I do like the red.
It does look good, but for now, we're going to toss this one to the desk, who will be filling in some time while we fix these tech issues.
I don't appreciate that cackle, Tom Biz. One more of those, I'm sending you to the crowd for an interview.
You're so nice when you toss to him, and this is what he gives you.
I'm so nice to them. What's new? We do have a little update. We're currently trying to iron out a hardware issue, and when that is all done, we'll send you guys back into the game. But for now, welcome to our podcast. I've got Kakuka and Billy here with me. We get to actually yap about some of the things we saw, so we're just going to go down topic by topic. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the Alpha Year Tejo, him of all people on this team playing it. What do we think? Was this, you felt like something that you couldn't envision, taking away the ISO, putting this back in? Would it fix their Abyss issues?
I mean, I think it's definitely interesting with how overpowered it is. Probably they got to the same, like probably 2 weeks ago, they had the idea of just going with the ISO and just probably filling in the same as they were. But after seeing Tejo probably on scrims, they decided to just go with it. And Alpha, again, it's not an agent that requires a lot because the ceiling is still, you know, very far. We still do not know until what point it can be used, but it's very strong on paper, very simple and easy to use. Alpha individually is simply brilliant. You can give him the ISO, you can give him almost any agent, and he's going to be fine. I'm excited to see something that we were talking about, and it's Kron on that Astra. I want to see the combos between them, because just in that third round, we were seeing how, you know, the post-bomb was very, very well planned. So I want to see, you know, we barely saw 3 rounds.
I like that you mentioned combos as well, because I think that's something that we have seen from timeless Fnatic, right? They're always trying to reinvent how people should be playing the game. Maybe we'll see some things with the tail, maybe we'll see teams that have not started running it try to implement those kind of things next week. I'm not entirely sure just yet, but yeah, no, I think that we'll see a lot coming out from Alpha's tail.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is I watched him play in Ranked on stream. Not that that's anything, but he looked really good. He was making some smart decisions, and I think this is one of the things about Fnatic, right? They do like to develop their talent, and one of the things they do is to make their players smarter. We see a lot of players join this team, and by the time they leave, they seem to have elevated themselves to that level. But yeah, let's address the Kron Astra. I mean, they're running Astra Omen. You guys feel like it could work the other way around? Billy, you think was it the right decision to put Boast on the Omen and Kron on the Astra, or maybe you would have liked to see a switcheroo?
I like the switcheroo. I think that we're so used to seeing Boaster on Astra, and I think that with Chronicle usually playing that initiative role, he is able to kind of take initiative in where he places his stars, how he uses them. I think one of the first couple of rounds that we just seen there as well, like BBL lost the round because of that Astra pull, right? So I think that I'm expecting to see a lot more of that, and their post plants will hopefully be strong with Chronicle being on that Astra.
I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to put it out there. If I think of like a really, imagine that they're attacking, right? Like they are right now. And we're in this, situation,
okay, yeah,
right?
set the scene.
It's like a 2v1. There's Astra alive on the side of Fnatic. The stars are put, the Astra is on the position that she needs to be to get the best out of the stars, but also being able to pick and get the frags. I would give the Astra to Kron instead of Boaster.
Honestly, I think
you
you're
understand
right.
what I mean?
I completely understand.
Right? Like if in that situation, if I'm going to put my Omen to just be on the flank and keep that covered, on the 1v1 or on the 1v2 and on the 1v3, I would put Kron with more possibilities of winning that than Boaster.
Actually, I disagree. If we throw our minds back to 2023, you remember who on the globally had the highest clutch percentage? Anyone want to remember or guess?
Wasn't it like out of how many? Okay.
No, it was a lot.
Yeah?
It was by far leading by far. The most clutches one was Boaster, by the way. So let's throw this back into 2 people who are more biased than me, is Mitch and Tom.
BB, I've got this.
In the bag, 2-1. Is that the series score?
In the bag is 2-1.
2-1, that's the series score, right? We're done, on to the next one. Let's go, French Derby. Now, 2-1 to BBL is where we left you folks, and the Pausa Técnica is no more. We're ready to roll, and Fnatic, 1 round behind, rifles on the board, ultimates built up to just 2 away for a lot of these players. This could be a swing round. It starts here for the Fnatic attack side already. Space taken on mid. Loon, bit of a lunatic indeed, and Kayak shuts him down, puts him in his place as a 5v4 emerges.
Something Billy mentioned on the desk as well about sometimes he does look like he goes a little bit too far. I will say I don't mind that in this series because I don't know if BBL are going to win if he isn't just making these crazy plays.
If you're making the exact right amount of aggression, or not getting punished for over-aggression 100% of the time, you're not being aggressive enough. There has to be a give and a take with it. And I think here, definitely a give from him. Gave the pick away to his opponents, but the re-aggression, it kind of works out the same. Lost the breach, man advantage still for Fnatic.
That's Yumpy down as well. A lot of your setup utility, if it does go into a retake, is going to be gone, but it doesn't look like there's any plans from BBL to play the retake. They've already got 2 players within the site, but it seems like Fnatic are well aware of that. Checking their backlines, the hold from Kayak, but he can quickly maneuver with the TP, and a third man re-aggressing up mid, and Sociable trades evenly. He's done incredibly well there. Now with 25 seconds left, a 2 versus 2, a player on either side of the map, and the fake TP hasn't really baited anyone. It will put the pressure onto Vac as they look to make it their way into his site.
They certainly heard the adage, if at first you don't succeed. The triple mid push nets the 2v2 with 10 seconds left. Time to move. Fnatic walk in. Plan being attempted. It's Vac that could stop it, but won't get there in time. Eliminates Kayak at least and follows up onto Alpha Yair. It's BBL 3-1 in the lead, and a great start for Vac, a player that was a little bit slower to get on the board yesterday. His morale has got to be boosted by that.
I think it's always difficult as well when you end up playing that sort of like pure site anchor with Cypher utility and the pressure's all on you all the time. He had a couple of moments, thinking back to, it was their Lotus, where he had some really high impact rounds at the back of the site. But in this case, it literally was a 1v2 on the site with 2 players that I think most will fear. It's going to put 3-1 on the board for BBL. And now the economy's kind of rough for Fnatic. They're going to invest into a couple of extra rifles and the players with more cash. And they do have Armageddon, which we've already said, for site clearances, it's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, there's a lot of spots that you can't feel as comfy in holding, one of which might be where Loon is, if not for the gate crash that he can quickly fall back to up in heaven. That may be needed. Guided salvo underway. Rocket's not going to take Loon out of position, though. Ult used now, confirming. Still one up close, one up top. Lots of information to play with for the BBL side. The decision for Loon, though, does he keep the advantage, hide with his team? There's a lot of weaknesses in play here. No, he's taking the risk. Punished immediately, and a rifle on the floor. That was, you have to feel like maybe that was unnecessary, Tom.
Yeah, I think blinding himself might have thrown it off a little bit. I think maybe had other plans in mind, but that went up in smoke when he caught himself with a flash. And now things become very difficult. You have yourself that ultimate available. It's already been thrown through, though, and isn't going to be able to do too much. None of the players were in the site just yet. I think that's Rolling Thunder that's been used all the way back. And in fact, Yumpy's actually walked past his opponent, and that time really is ticking. Boaster still within the site. They have to be on it right now, and I'm intrigued to see if this is actually going to go through.
What?
Oh! 0.01! It is just about going to be the Red Bull clutch for Fnatic. Oh. I bet Chronicle's happy to be on the other side of the 0.01 this time.
Oh, I did not think that was going through, man. I did not think that was going through at all. The panic Hunter's Fury as well at the last second. You could see I wasn't the only one. A Fnatic taking that round 3-2 by a fraction of a second.
It was genuinely the last time I remember that happening. Chronicle was on the other team to Boaster.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Well, Fnatic fans and heart attacks. Seems like that's not changing this year.
No, they're the mecca for heart attacks, that's for sure. Quick play up, straight through B. Kayak's got control. They've seen one behind that wall. They know what's going on. There's no way they take the risk, surely. Straight into the shorty would be a mistake. Just time being bought as the plan comes through. But BBL are of the same mind, waiting for the rest of the team to rally up so they can make this play together. The rifle on Yumpy, the main threat, and oh, it's gone. It's already been dealt with. Surely the drop, it's too easy for Kayak, slipping up behind. They think he's come from a different dimension, but it was the smoke
gave him the chance to be the star of this round. 3 kills under his belt, 3 rounds for Fnatic.
Waiting for his moment, I think, knowing that his teammates had him covered, but again, that was a low purchase round. I feel like important though for Fnatic to keep that one nice and clean. After the last round ended with, I think, no one left standing, to make sure that they have those credits in their back pocket. I'm excited now as well to see that operator come online for Loon. We've already seen him try and get incredibly aggressive. I think maybe this will temper his aggression a little bit, unless he was watching Nat's demos from yesterday.
Yeah, well, the aggression has gone up to start with. He's denied the pick and takes damage instead. Heal up, Loon resetting and going back out for more. Deep A main control for BBL as a result. Quick rotations. They start to make their way towards mid to stack up heavy for the fight. That does come their way. Kayak drop double peek. Boaster's running right into. Realizes that's not a fight he wants to take, but can he get out? There's 4 players all around him, both sides stacked up, but Boaster still delivers. Sociable down, and perhaps an avenue for this squad to move towards B. The paranoia, absolutely perfect, and time bought for the TP. He is out of here, and although Yumpy's brought back to life, Fnatic try to punish. I thought they were going to get it, but not quite in time.
I think he was just out of position. A good res that's brought this back into BBL's favor. The work of Boaster somewhat undone, and with 40 seconds left, they do still have to make a move. Vac's got to be careful. There are 3 players in middle, but he just about gets out of there, and in fact, he's ended up getting quite a bit of information for it. I think multiple players shooting at him as he tries to exit, and 25 seconds. Fnatic have to make a decision. They've used that from the shadows as well, which might have given a quick avenue onto the site. I do start to wonder if this becomes a save.
15. I mean, this is going to have to be a quick approach. Look where the spike is, straight to the site. No room to slow down. Chronicle needs to clear the way. They have to take the snake out of the grass. If Loon can drop this spike, it's over and done with already on the site. The plant now attempted, but he's just around the corner. Loon denies it. The time run dry. The round going the other direction. BBL maintain their lead 4-3.
Really messy. Like, that's the thing. I kind of looked at it getting down to the late round, and it really did just come down to, can we kill this person immediately and stick the plant? And I think the second they let go of the plant, the round's already over. Maybe not quite realizing how little time was left on that clock, but somewhat of a mistake in the end from Fnatic, giving BBL back that lead. Been fighting tooth and nail for it, and it really has been an aggressive start. I like the fact that even though BBL are coming up against what should be better opposition, they are not shying away. And time to jump. Hey, you win some, you lose some. He won that one, and I'm not sure how.
He was blind. He was blind, no.
You miss every shot you don't take.
Yeah, he hits almost every shot he takes. Not bad for Loon. And you see again where, like, that is not the kind of aggressive position most players will be able to find success from. And if he goes down, it looks kind of silly that he's going this aggro. But when it works, and it does work a lot, you end up with an advantage like this, healed back up as well.
Yeah, I wonder if that's why they've got the Sage. just make sure.
Reset Loon.
But the thing is as well, as said, I think if you try and play a more default and let Fnatic execute, they're they always have been one of the best execute teams in the world. Post plants as well, so you have to be disruptive, you have to be in their face, and it's also one of the ways that they're getting information. So I'd like what BBL are currently doing on this defensive side. Speaking of those executions, Fnatic are setting up for one here on A.
Definitely looking like a pointed approach. Sociable, in trouble. Caught on that right side, needs help. Stepping forward to hold in that smoke with him is going to be Yumpy. Reinforcements from Profek as well. Man was putting up 4Ks round in, round out the other day. 15 seconds left.
This time I think it is a save. Sure.
Unless they do just run in. But Chronicle's got one, no real movement. Spike is still actually shifting forward. They are moving in. 7 seconds left. They've left this so late. What? Yumpy's just stopping them. Spikes on the floor. Weapons thrown to the ether, into the abyss, and they won't be coming back. I agree with you, Tom. At 15 seconds, I'm 100% with you. It's a save. The Spike's moving forward still. I think they called to push in at like 8 seconds left.
Yeah, I think they got the kill and went.
It still took like 5 or 6 seconds from the kill to the push in. Like with that little time on the clock, well, all they needed was Yumpy.
that feels like 2 rounds now where Fnatic have just been hesitant on whether or not they're going for it. And it's ended up completely stabbing them in the back, maybe only assuming that there would be one more player on that side getting the read wrong and losing because of it. But this is unorthodox. And, well, we got ourselves the pause coming in for Fnatic. I'm not overly surprised because these are not mistakes you really expect to be seeing.
No, not at all. And indeed, this is a Fnatic pause that's come through. It makes perfect sense. After a round like that, I think there's, you know, coaching staff sitting on the side. You're seeing all these flags pop up. You got to get on that immediately.
You're hitting the big red button.
Oh yeah,
In fact, I think Mini probably hit it from the talent room back. He's like,
ah! Ran in,
he's
just started slapping.
He's clenching right now. He's like, wait, I'm not the coach anymore. I'm free.
Yeah. Like getting back up to 3-3, being up 5-3, these are all normal things. The scoreline doesn't look bad for Fnatic in any shape or form. It's BBL's map pick. Look, no need to stress, but it's how they've ended up here. It's how that last round went. We can't do that. And indeed, yeah, it's rare to see even the one. So for BBL, playing Sailor, keep doing the same thing. Hope they keep making the same mistakes. It's been good. Tempered, well, I'm not going to call it tempered aggression. It's just been aggression.
Well, yeah, they have aggression, but then they also have all of that utility to delay. Like those really late stars being put down for smokes, the wall being utilized, the slows as well from back. It is just annoying. That's what they've built. They built an irritating comp. And we can see the pace change. Some of these were working earlier on. Kayak again, he's been getting so many kills that this ultimate is continuously coming online. But he's trapped in a corner, not really anywhere for him to go. The Sage Wall just left him in the back of the site, and nobody else is particularly close. They're now looking to go for those trades, but the swing out is sublime from BBL. They work together. They are looking like a stellar team. That was so well timed. And while Fnatic are left with just the superstar of Alpha yet, he's going to go down as well. Great round from BBL.
Well, this is it. Previously, you look at how these pushes might go down. Kayak taking that same kind of space, but then Alphayer with a second lease of life with that shield on ISO rushing through to claim the space. This time, though, that utility is being used with this composition to set Kayak up, to clear all these spaces, to keep players back, and that's a very unlucky way to go. Not only could he not see him because his teammate was in the way, he got full blinded and still didn't shoot the decoy.
The funny thing is as well, though, is that normally in that circumstance, Kayak could just leave.
Yeah,
but he could just, or even just walk out when he still had the ult. But because the Sage was there, he's just gonna go, oh, I actually have nowhere left to go. Here goes Loon again. It has to be expected. First headshot, second as well. Great early start from this youngster. We've spoken about it many a time. You get an 18-year-old prodigy from the Turkish league. Chances are they're going to be pretty good, and it seems like he's another hit. I'm yet to see a miss, actually. That just seems to be the meta.
At the end of the day, man, like
we're going to have 60 Turkish players in a few years.
When this guy's doing it against Giants, it's one thing, but up against Fnatic, if this continues, yeah, this is going to be a lot. There already are a lot of eyes on him. It's only going to increase from here on out. Alphayer drop trying to push up back again, steadfast in his defense of the B site. Getting around that wall is Boaster, but it's not going to give them any extra avenue of approach. He is dropped immediately. Even Chronicle to make this as costly as he can. At least one dropped. And that is where it ends. A 3-piece for Loon. Another big round from that young star. And 7 on the board for BBL. This was equalized 3-3 not long ago, Tom. But, well, there doesn't seem to be any slowing down the Turkish side now.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know if I've seen a Sage Maul that has annoyed teams more than this one. Like, and it's not like he's doing much unique. He's put it flat, I think, once or twice across the main part of the site. But other than that, he's just putting it down, and every time someone walks around it, they die. Because there just isn't really that much space, and there's no opportunity for trades. It seems really silly, but it does feel like one of the main things that has been frustrating Fnatic in this match.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe break it.
Destroy it. We'll see if that idea is put into effect.
The fun thing is, though, Loon then plays ahead sometimes. So it's not like they're just sitting doing the same thing again and again. And well, there you go. He's ahead of it. So you're not expecting anybody to be that far forward. That's already Kayak dead. And by the way, he had the spike.
That's the second time as well in that exact position. Kayak's being cut off, then ult used for info. Hunter's Fury on the back of it, wall that's sectioning them off. That was so. Here's where we get to the overcooking conversation. Maybe in the 5v3 we didn't need to continue the aggression, but Hey, listen.
He TP'd through their Cosmic Divide.
Just don't cramp his
into
style.
their entire team.
Don't cramp his style, man. At the end of the day, you know, if you want, you got to take the good with the bad. And that, it was the bad, but there's some good behind it. Still, equalized down to a 3v3. Now, BBL might start to regret that little bit of over-aggression. Also, you know, 5v3, and they had the spike. I think that's an important extra piece of information. Fnatic, no ultimates to claim it back in terms of Boaster, but Alphayear going to be putting in the Armageddon. Big problem for players on site. Having now moved to the back exactly where Boaster knows, but Profect still delivers the hit. Alphayear, 20 HP, holding on for dear life, but Profect makes him let go. And as this slowly slips out of the control of the attacking side, 12 seconds left, spike down, 1v3 for Crashies, and no money, it's time to save. This half has fallen apart for Fnatic.
Oh, this round is more terrifying than you might think as well. Like, that's not only... I thought for a second he was going to go down, but no, it's Yumpy falling. But that's not only, okay, you lost the first 2 fights, whatever, you get it back to a 3v3. They used, I think, 3 ultimates in that round. So you had yourself Hunter's Fury, Cosmic Divide at the start, and Armageddon across the side. So from a 3v3, okay, you use 2 of those ults after it, you get no kills, and you lose the round. Like, that's a really bad position from their perspective. And then you look at the other side, okay, you now have Rolling Thunder online. You're halfway to getting the res again. You're almost at the Cosmic Divide. And what, there's only 1 round left in the half, and Fnatic are definitely coming out looking much worse for wear.
Oh, Loon.
If at first you don't succeed.
Well, this is the try again. 4th time he's just gone walkabouts. Success has been found before, but this, the cleanest exit he could have had. Sticking around still, though. Greedy, hungry, perhaps. And Boaster set to feed him down to 2 bullets. It's time to get out.
I love he had a TP the whole time, and he's like, 2 is not enough.
I need that 3rd, and he almost got it. Had the chance. Alphayear tagged down to 10 HP, but survives the engagement. When Loon comes back, though, it won't quite be the same case. Standing inside the salvo, he claims a 4th. The lunatic finally put to bed, but Chronicle left in a 1v3.
Obscuring vision.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone disrespect Fnatic this much. Like, it's almost like it's a new year and he's forgotten who they are. It's just filthy. Fights them tooth and nail, does that versus Alphayear. And now Chronicle. Well, the desk had a conversation of who they'd want in a clutch. Sue begged to differ that Boaster was the choice. Well, we get to see what Chronicle can do here. 25 seconds up and coming, still has the spike, has a chance to isolate Vac, who currently sits at the back of site alone. Oh, that rotation's already coming in with a Rolling Thunder. I don't think that leaves any hope. A very impressive half from BBL. New boys on the block, and they are 9-3 up in the half.
From 3-3, now we're going into half 2. It's 6 consecutive rounds for BBL. Impressive stuff. We'll see if they can keep this energy up in half 2 after the break. You 9-3 when we return. We didn't sneak any rounds in without you, don't worry. Round 13 about to kick off, a pistol round that I think Fnatic are going to be coming in desiring.
Oh yeah, for sure. This definitely hasn't looked like a great map for them, having a fair few mistakes in the mix, but also, well, we're just seeing Loon do Loon things, like just bullying them at times with the level of aggression he's willing to go for, the respect not being shown, and I think they need to, well, almost put him in his place if things are going to turn. Either way. Turkish side are looking to build up pretty directly towards this A side. They have left one man behind just to try and catch any flanks though.
Yeah, Profect's going to be that safety net. Boaster probably running into him later on. We'll see if BBL go back in that direction. Already lost Loon, caught behind the smoke. Spike hasn't made it out. Yeah, time to go meet Profect, but Boaster, well, he didn't get too aggressive. Just sat around here, waiting up top for these players to rotate back to nice spot. And if no one goes up towards the window, he could be catching them all with their back turned, but it's unusual. With 4 players, someone has got to check it, and then Boaster needs to deliver. Here comes the Stampede, plenty. 3 players there, in fact. Smoke blooms a little too late. He's already been spotted, drops one at least.
That's fine.
And buys time, 3 players just outside of B, as Footfall found by BBL.
Trying to bait out some of that utility before the plant comes in. Well, eventually it's going to come through, but easier said than done. Forced into the hands of Kayak. He went a little bit quiet in the end of that second half, but he's back on the board again. Fnatic will win themselves that all-important pistol. Now they can start to try and kick things back into gear in the second half.
Yeah, and there you see some of the better use, and I think what we've seen most teams going for with the salvo, just using it to push players out of position into your crosshair, force that closer peek for them. You've got that advantage to capitalize on, and players like Kayak will not let those advantages fall into your hands.
It's also being used in the first and second clip. It's used on one side of the map, and then it's recharged so quickly he can use it to stop. He denied plants on either side.
I think we're looking at probably like a 2-kill reset for that or something in the future. I think the rework will be, I doubt it's more time. Okay, that could have gotten a little bit dicey, but there's plenty of players on Fnatic who are just running pistols as well. So even in a round like this, you lose 1, you lose 2. As long as those players are close enough to pick up the fallen pieces, or indeed maybe they have those pieces themselves, if Boaster has just a classic, then it's going to be fine. You don't end up losing that much overall. So 2 kills already. BBL, they lose a lot of their punch. Even if they group up now and hit a side as a unit, it's still going to be a 3v2 without guns.
Maybe build up a few orbs here and there. And well, Boaster with the classic. He's doing it for the bundle, doing it for the branding.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and he's thrown it on the floor.
He's left it on the floor.
Talk to HR.
Wasn't be that good, I guess. Not worth keeping. I take the ghost over the course.
Savard was loading up the clip, and now he's just deleted it.
He's just cut that one a little bit early. Yeah, as well, like the fact is those players were running into the Pistons. They had the best chance to win those duels and get the spike on the floor there than anywhere else, but it doesn't work out. Good kills across the board for Fnatic. Good economy builder as well, which is very important when you're trailing by 4. Still quite the lead for BBL, and now the rifles come out for that attacking side.
Not really any pieces missing for Fnatic either. Having all of those rifles kept through, even having the players without them getting the majority of the kills. Boaster set up as that Cyanka. Now he does have pretty close support, but Loon is already in TP onto the site, looking to try and take as much space as he can. And while the flash, I think maybe slightly off, it's going to leave him blinded instead of Boaster. And that duel will go the other way.
Here.
Plan secured at least. BBL have something to report home about. They managed to break the wall as well. The stealth drone grabbing info up close. Angle held as they cross back over. It's Sociable looking for the battle through that wall.
All missiles away.
He'll get it. He's been spotted. It's the salvo yet again. Concussed too. They've dodged all that utility, ready to take the fights, but in a very nasty position as the wall is chipped away at. Covered. Less and less of it by the second. They look to fight on the backside. A big swing from Yumpy. Kills picked up, and even more by Sociable. But the numbers, they remain in Fnatic's favor as the defuse started again. Now just making it to half as Alpha puts to bed the final opponent. Another round finds its way into Fnatic's hands, just trailing by 3. Yeah,
that was the sort of curse of that aggressive plan, is you really needed to hold on to that deep control, having the Sage wall broken pretty quick, and also all of the utility that was removed from the drone, that was put in to just sort of leave those players stuck in the mud. That plant doesn't leave you with many positions left to go, but with Fnatic previously denying the default plant, using the salvo for that, it's not gone great. And while for Alpha, getting ever closer to having that Armageddon on the board already, though. We are going to see a pause called from BBL, wanting to stem the bleeding as early as possible. Maybe a few pieces missing in terms of synergy. I think, like, it's always difficult to tell when a player gets flashed by a team flash. If it was Loon peeking too early, which I think it might be, or if it was Yumpy doing it just a little bit too late, because that was the thing. He goes in for the peak, Boaster manages to then sort of dodge it, and he gets full blinded by his own flash. Yeah. You have to feel like that's slightly better timed, and it's a very easy kill for Loon.
Well, is it a situation of, Yumpy's comms? Or from what we've seen, Loon getting a little too over-aggressive?
I think it might be that.
I don't know. I don't know where my money's going, but it might be Loon. 3 rounds between them. That timeout now coming to an end. I believe that was BBL taking a moment to touch base with their coaching staff, and now they're right back into things. Barriers soon to go up, but the economy has gone down for BBL. It's not in a healthy spot. Weaknesses across the board. Sheriffs in play. But if you were watching the other day and you see Sociable with that weapon in play, you know that this man still poses a bit of a threat. They need to be careful.
He did need a headhunt for one of the kills.
Granted. But now he's got shock darts. Pick up one with that.
Sure.
Robin Hood.
Again, no surprises. Loon is already at the top of mid, and he is dead. An isolated fight. And around like this, you don't mind it too much. You can see the drone thrown out on the other side. A lot of information gathering. I think that's what this composition really allows. Lots of delay and info for this defensive side. And Kayak with the ability to claim a lot of the space that they can find to be clear. Of course, for the attack in this round, expectations still minimal is what they can do with those pistols.
So they've seen a lot of utility used up, not only the salvo, but the paranoia, as well as a reveal on mid just off Loon's utility contact. He did happen to be there. But there's a good chance that that util gets burned up if they can fake it out early enough. We'll see if they adapt to that as time goes on. Fnatic now with a choice, fight ahead of this push or wait and attempt the retake. Kayak manages to pick up one, and they walk straight into Alpha here. Not something you usually get to walk away from. 9-7. Gap is now 2, and Fnatic, they're making quick work of this comeback, building up economy as well. Ultimate's coming online. Things are looking good.
Yeah, the in-zone flawless definitely helping out to make sure the finances are as tip-top as possible. I do like as well that a lot of the time the guided salvo is just being used for the default plant spot. It's like, okay, you want to sit in your normal positions, I'm not going to allow you to do it because you have to give us at least a few seconds, and it means that, say for example, Boaster wants to fall off the site, you're not just giving everything up because there's still going to be a few seconds bought of extra time. This is where the rifles are back up though. But again, those ultimates have been built. An immediate use of the Armageddon, just trying to catch them early and even putting an extra salvo into the corner. Clearly some ideas, but it's only really gained space. The damage wasn't done.
I didn't see where the second salvo ended up going. Maybe it was even a misclick that it's supposed to fully cover that gap. But a very nice setup. We might see that a little bit later on. For now, seems like BBL have not been deterred. Looking still towards the A site, Rolling Thunder online. I might even see Yumpy setting it up just now, but Kayak not quite caught by it. Is revealed though. The stealth drone clearing him out, so he TPs to backside. A lot of space given up here. And Prophet claiming a kill on mid. It's a great start for BBL. Starting to get a sense of this site. Kayak still though causing problems. Able to pick up one and fade back. A 4v4. Damage done to Loon. Utility coming in to delay. Ultimate used for info. Alpha catching Yumpy. So much disruption from the side of Fnatic, and they're picking up kills as BBL flee the site. Kayak now behind them as well to be concerned about. That means the players on site know that Loon is the only man challenging them. That gives Alpha the green light to swing on in, and a clean conclusion to this round. Fnatic, honestly, flawless gameplay. Who could have seen it coming? The Fnatic comeback.
Yeah, really nice use of all of their utility in that moment. Again, the refresh of the salvo just forces players off that plant super quickly. Like you can see, they had to just jump out and Alpha's ready, and then you can immediately see the swings off of it. They know what they're doing, they know exactly where they need to be and where players are going to be after they're forced out of position. This defensive side so far from Fnatic has looked stellar, and for BBL, I think it's getting tougher and tougher. Not being able to get properly into those post bonds without mass amounts of utility coming their way has left them out to dry in a few rounds now.
Standing ahead. This is where it has got to get frustrating, seeing that scoreline close in. Now, hot on your heels are the side of Fnatic. Credits built up, some ultis used in the last at least, but well, this is a chance for them to build them up even more. Yes, ults online for BBL, but just the economy, the investment that they have, it's not likely. They commit a whole lot, he says, and immediately Loon pops the ulti.
Does this mean they're going to use the other? That was the question I was going to ask. Is no, he just goes alone. I thought maybe, okay, they'll use the Hunter's Fury just to get a free kill and a gun. No, instead, Loon was like, I can take him. I've got this. I think there was a stun to help him out, but even still, it leaves them level with a severe weaponry disadvantage and a lot still to do.
Oh, the retake of space is nice from Yumpy. They cleared that side out, but now he's up close looking for the fight. The shots don't land though. Again, weaponry disadvantage in play. Glaring for the side of BBL. They've lost Yumpy, they've lost the sight. A star down to at least use the grab well, buy some more time. Hunter's Fury and a couple of kills. This could actually work out. Another burst of the Hunter's Fury claims Alpha Yair, and the grab well wasn't even needed at this point. The round is already theirs. BBL, they won't see Fnatic equalize. They won't even see the end of the round as all 10 players perish as BBL make double digits.
What an impressive way to do it. A pay save card, thrifty, but again, you look at this man, Sociable, and what he's able to do with so little. That ult was basically to buy them some time. He not only gets 2 kills, but he tags Bosto, who's running up to make the 3rd kill even easier. That's about as good as you'll see a Hunter's Fury work these days. And while we talked about that as a low investment round, we didn't even expect the ultimates to be used, it's won them the round outright.
Gorgeous play. And that's it. We've seen Fnatic climb back up. Really nice rounds on display from that side, but BBL, they still have some gas in the tank. It's a race to the finish. BBL have the lead, but by a narrow margin. A move to the A side after a fake out of B. Heavy utility has got Fnatic stacking up that side. They put a gate crash down just now, moving through the spawn, but they won't be there in time to deny this control. A plant is found by BBL.
Yeah, it's one of the first times I think we've seen Althea on the wrong side of the map, and that's definitely made it tougher. A lot of the time he was denying this post plant. And again, we're going to see this aggressive position with the wall. The plant, though, in a better position for the players who are in main. So this time, you can see those later flanks, those later spots, and you need to highlight also what Prophet is currently doing. Wrapping around the backlines, coming in incredibly late, just to make sure that this becomes awkward. Boast has done well, though. A clear on the first, immediate trade. They just need to buy time for Prophet, if he can even get there. And he's right there in the last second. This could be Ushiro. His own grandpa has caught him out, though, but I think he's bought enough time. It didn't matter in the end, but, oh, if there was a few more seconds, that would have been horrific.
Yeah, indeed. Just a couple more seconds on the clock, and it was a disaster. Instead, Red Bull clutch, glory, and another step towards victory. Maybe a stumble towards victory, but in the right direction nonetheless.
I could have turned coal to diamonds with the way I clenched there.
That was ridiculous. And as well, you know, that little bit of extra time bought by Vac on the backside with the wall in play, dancing in and out of the angle, every contribution that ran down that clock, that drained the time away, gets BBL to this position. Rifles still there for Fnatic. Decent buy, good amount of utility still left to play with. Kayak, he's gone up aggressive. He's looking to play like Loon, but he has met the same fate as Loon did many times in the early half. Dropped off rip, and for Fnatic, that is a huge loss with just a few seconds off the clock.
Yeah, the fact that the Hunter's Fury goes in as well, like that was a set play with an attempt to do mass damage. He runs in with the drone and meets a Sage Wall in the spawn. And it's almost just being used as info. Like, has someone pushed this far? Because they have to break a wall if they do. Bit of a slowdown from BBL. Fnatic do have the right players in the right place, and it seemed like at the right time, but that drone has kind of given them the idea that maybe it isn't going to be a B hit.
Well, yeah, just look at Alphayer. He's still re-clearing all this control towards Heaven. They think it was going the other direction, and now they realize, luckily, 3 players still here, ready to fight. Flash goes through. The peak slow from Loon, 8 HP. He's so low, but that will not stop him. A gate crash put through. It might even have been spotted by Crashies. I'm not sure. It was faked out anyways. Loon going aggressive instead, straight through the smoke. He might not be needed. Traded out the last second by Profek, and the spike planted. The round's already done. 12-8 with 4 chances to close out this map against Fnatic. This has been a sensational start to the season for BBL in their opening matchup, but this right here, it's a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, again, like, it has to be mentioned, having the stand-in this sort of scenario is always going to make things a lot more difficult, especially when Shiwa is someone who is such a reliable anchor. I think that VAC has done well, but you have to look at the other players that are within this team. Sociable having highlight rounds, Loon still just an absolute maniac within that server, and a lot of these rounds have been close. Maybe a few tweaks here and there could be enough for Fnatic to turn the tide. They've already had a 5-round streak in this defensive half, and it was only coming down to sort of like a few obscure plays that I think 2 of it was actually no players alive and the spike winning the round. Like that's what we're talking about with a couple of the losses they've had in this second half. Doesn't matter though. All that matters for BBL is that they take their map pick as they go into Fracture.
Yeah, you never know what awaits you there up against a side like Fnatic. It's been a good fight for BBL, 6 rounds in a row that gave them a huge lead at halftime, and now starting to string them together yet again. One more is all they need, a flash in the pan, and it'll be enough to send them to a 1-0 advantage. The potential to deal Fnatic their first loss in VCT 2025. That's an accolade you won't soon forget. With 10 seconds left before barriers go up, take a look at the economy. It's not great for BBL, but they've got that beautiful position to say, hey, they can play a mixed bag here, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks, and we've got plenty of room to maneuver if we need to take an eco later and bounce back hard for the end of the game.
I'll handle this.
Oh, here goes Loon. Somehow I'm normally more nervous for him when he has these ults. He just sticks the landing almost immediately. Does, for maybe the first time ever, decide to actually teleport out. Now bear in mind, the Alpha has that Armageddon online, a big win for Profek on the outskirts of the map, and well, this time not denying that plant. I wonder where Alpha will even place. It's such an obscure post-plant position. They're playing alongside the wall, and you break the wall, and Loon comes and fights you. Again, he's going to retreat for the 2nd time after finding a kill, and is being healed back up by VAC.
Armageddon, oh my god, stun, paranoia, everything hit him. Finally, they deal with Loon, and it's Boaster to lead the charge right back into the site. They're taking over. Rolling Thunder put in by Yumpy. It'll buy them a little bit more time. And they've even got a grab well. They don't know if the defuse was coming through. Yumpy confirms that it's not. They've bought that time, and they've bought enough. BBL, they've done it. There's no stopping it now. The spike explodes, and so do Fnatic's chances on map 1. It's a 1-0 start from a squad everyone had at the bottom of the list while they're fighting for a slot at the top.
Incredibly impressive display. But before we head into the break, let's pass things over to Yinsu for a quick message to all of our fans.
We want to turn our attention away from the VCT EMEA action now and take a moment to acknowledge the ongoing wildfires in Southern California. As many of you might know, LA is where Riot's story began, and the past weeks have been an incredibly difficult time for the community, including many of our fans, pro players, teams, and colleagues. From everyone here in EMEA, we want to send our most heartfelt well wishes and messages of support to all of you, our friends, colleagues, fellow players, and members of the wider Southern California community. For those eager to support even further, starting Wednesday, January 22nd, Riot is launching in-game fundraisers which will go towards global fire and other natural disaster relief. Proceeds will go to the Riot Games Social Impact Fund, which will direct funds to organizations aiding natural disaster recovery in Southern California and around the world. Thank you for listening. Now we'll head to a quick break and continue with the games.
Red Bull gives you wings.